It was almost 2 a.m. I had left a friend gathering a bit late. My home was a bit outside the city, and I didn't want to walk. I opened the taxi app, but there were no cars nearby. Just as I was about to give up and walk, a car quietly pulled up next to me. It wasn't from the app, and I hadn't called one. An old, black Mercedes. A man was inside, not moving at all. Somehow, a strange feeling told me to get in. And in that moment, I made the biggest mistake of my life. The driver was tall and pale. His lips were so tight, it was like he couldn't speak. "I'm going to Bachelievla," I said. He slowly nodded, but didn't say a word. While looking for the seatbelt, I noticed deep scratch marks under the seat. It looked like someone had sunk into that seat. The driver smiled faintly, but something was wrong with that smile. His lips moved, but his eyes didn't. I wanted to get out right then, but the car had already started moving, and my phone had no signal. The GPS wasn't on. "You need to turn there," I said. He didn't respond. My instincts started screaming. This guy isn't a real taxi driver. But then why is he still driving? Where are we going? I looked out the window. The city was slowly disappearing, replaced by dark, silent back streets. No streetlights. And suddenly, the backseat light turned on. By itself. The backseat light was flickering, like a broken bulb. But the truly terrifying part was a word written in the fog on the window. "Stay." I froze. I wiped the glass, but the writing was still there. I asked the driver, "What is this?" No response. Instead, we locked eyes through the rearview mirror. And that's when I noticed. He had no pupils. He began driving into a rural road without saying a word. Above me were the stars, and ahead, only asphalt. "What are you doing? Where are we going?" Still no response. My hand reached for the door handle, but it wouldn't open. The child lock wasn't on. There just was no handle. I was sunken into the seat. It felt like escaping wasn't an option anymore. The radio suddenly turned on, but there was no music. A woman's voice whispered, "He's not alive. He's not driving." Goosebumps covered my skin. Then the radio broke up, and laughter followed. Not the woman's. The car turned cold, windows fogged up. The driver was still silent, but his lips were moving. He was mouthing something, but no sound came out. At one point, the car stopped. A forested dirt road. Outside, there was a sign. "No way back." The headlights lit up a narrow path ahead. That's when I saw a shoe on the ground, and then another, and another. There was a trail of footprints, but only one set, as if someone had walked in, but never came out. The door suddenly opened on its own. The driver was still not moving. But in the rearview mirror, someone else was sitting in the back seat. Every time I turned, they were gone. But in the mirror, I could see them. They were leaning toward me. I felt their breath on my neck. Only one thought passed through my mind. Wake up. But this wasn't a dream. Suddenly, the driver spoke. "We're already here." "What do you mean?" I asked, but got no reply. I looked out the window. We were at the entrance of a cemetery. There was a headstone with my name on it. 1996 to 2025. My vision went dark. I wanted to scream more, but no sound came out. I only heard one scream. My own. But from outside, I opened my eyes. I was in a hospital. My mother was crying by my side. Apparently, I had been in a car accident. But the strange thing was, I had no memory of any crash. Only that taxi, that night. And my mother, barely holding herself together, whispered something. you didn't call the ambulance, and we can't find who the license plate belongs to. But I know I had never seen that car before, and I never want to see it again.
I was late getting home that night. It had started to rain, and I didn't want to walk. I opened the taxi app, but my phone was at 2%. I ordered the first car that popped up. No profile photo, low rating, but I had no time. The car arrived in 3 minutes, a black painted Skoda with tinted windows. I hesitated before getting in, but I ignored my instincts. I shouldn't have. The driver was middle-aged, wore glasses, but the lenses reflected everything. I couldn't see his eyes. "Karshiaka," I said. He nodded but didn't speak. He turned on the radio. There was no music, just static. I tried to check the route on the app, but my phone had died. I looked out the window. We weren't heading to Karshiaka. I felt it. Someone was watching me, but there was only the driver. I slowly turned to the back seat, empty. Then my phone powered on by itself. A message appeared. "Don't look behind you." I dropped the phone. The car's interior suddenly grew cold. The windows began to fog up. I looked into the rearview mirror. The driver wasn't looking at me. He was looking at the back seat. He was muttering, but no sound came out. Then I saw a blink, but not mine. A pair of eyes stared at me from behind his shoulder. I turned. No one was there, but in the mirror, they remained. Every time I looked, a third passenger was behind me. The driver suddenly turned onto a dirt path. "Where are you going?" No answer. The road was bumpy and narrow. To our left was an old cemetery. Half the gravestones were toppled, some broken. Light reflected off one stone. It had my name on it, and my birth year. No death year. Panicking, I tried to open the door. It was locked. Each time I tried, I heard a cracking noise from inside. The interior was growing darker. The ceiling light was off. In the window, I saw my own face, but it wasn't me. It was a crying child with stitches on his chin. Then he vanished. Suddenly, the driver took out his wallet and handed me something, an old, yellowed photograph. There were 3 people, a man, a woman, and a small child. The child looked eerily like me. "That's not me," I said, but the driver kept staring at me through the mirror as if waiting for something. His mouth didn't move, but his lips silently whispered, "You forgot me." The car suddenly shook. It didn't break, but it stopped. The world outside was pitch dark. Someone was in the back seat now. This time I could see clearly. A thin-faced child with wet hair. He stared at me without moving. His mouth was open, but there was no sound. He was holding a toy car with the same license plate as ours. Then suddenly, his eyes rolled upward. "This isn't real. This isn't real," I whispered to myself. The driver suddenly spoke. "You could have come back, but you chose. What does that mean?" Then I realized the driver was me. The car was just a reflection. Me in the front seat, my childhood self in the back, and silence all around us. I woke up at the edge of a forest. I was lying on the ground. No car, no driver, no child. Only that old photograph still in my hand. Since that night, I never take taxis, never travel at night, and every morning, just before I wake up, I hear one voice. "Why did you leave me?"